Welcome to the channel. I'm Tony the Technician, and today we're going to be going back into my 23 Colorado and installing some lighting. So if you guys follow the channel, you guys might know that recently I got rid of my RCI bed rack, tonneau cover, my rooftop tent, roto packs, all of the stuff that was on the back of my truck I basically got rid of. And I had the RSI smart cap installed because I needed more usable space, and I think this is a fantastic upgrade. Stay tuned to the channel. I've got other videos out of some of the other changes I've also made, Prinsu Pro roof rack, and then we're also going to be doing some modifications in the smart cap in order to kind of utilize that space a little bit better. I use my truck for both work needs 4 to 5 days out of the week, and I use it for camping. So I work out of the bed of my truck almost every day. With this smart cap, it's made a huge improvement, but sometimes I wake up super early in the morning, sometimes I'm working late, and even not work related, camping wise, also lighting is really nice to have. So we're gonna be installing some Kingpin equipped light bars, and I absolutely love these. I saw these back on Facebook or Instagram a few months back, and I thought they had an awesome design. They're coming out with some new things, so stay tuned for that. If you guys haven't checked out Kingpin Equipped, go ahead and do so. I'll try and have their website linked down in the description for you guys. Also, if I can get a discount code, I'll have that down there as well for you. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns on these items, please feel free to drop a comment down below. I'm gonna show you how to install, but first we're gonna take a close-up look of what you get in the kit. I have a 3-piece kit. It's going to include 3 of the 40-inch light bars as well as the touch switches. And you can get, I believe they have 12-inch light bars and 40-inch light bars. And right now it's just kind of a warm light, which I really like. Kind of reduces bugs and stuff like that. But I do believe they have some new items coming out for color switching or different color options. So stay tuned for those if you're not into this color option. So let's go ahead and take a look at it, and then I'll show you how to install it and how, got a little dark over here, and we'll see how it turns out. I'll do some night footage so you guys can see exactly how they operate, and I really hope you guys enjoy. If you guys do, make sure to smash that thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into this. So these are the 40-inch light bars. You can get them in a 12-inch also. They are 12-volt lights. You do have this nice rubberized wire here, or coating over the 18-gauge wiring, as you can see there. And this you get approximately 40 inches of, so the same length as the light bar, I believe. And then if you buy a kit, you can buy like a 3-piece kit with 2 switches. There's multiple different sets, or you can buy everything individually. It just depends on what you're trying to do. I have the RSI smart cap, so I'm going to do 2 going the length of the smart cap, and then 1 at the back for the opening door. And so the one on the door will be on its own switch, and then the other 2 will be on a separate switch. This is going to be your touch switch. Comes with just the switch and then some instructions, basically just stating that the crown side goes to the light, and then the other side will go to your 12-volt power source. Very, very simple item to install, and then everything is operated just by this little touch panel here. As far as the lights, they do have a low amp draw. 40-inch is going to be 1.4 amps, and then the 12-inch ones are going to be a half an amp. A very low profile, as you can see here. I think the build quality on this is way superior to just a standard, LED light strip that's just got sticky backing. You have aluminum brackets here, and you can mount this multiple different ways, so we'll go over that here in a little bit. Between the mount and the actual light, you do have like a foam rubberized couple of grommets there, and this allows you to actually turn the light. So once you have it mounted, you can rotate the light whatever direction you want. So I love how slim they are. I love that they're waterproof, so you can install these outside, not under any cover, or you can install them in the bed. Multiple different scenarios that you could use these in. With the rotation, you have 180 degrees of rotation, so you can kind of get the light aimed exactly where you want. The shape, if you know what quarter round is, or quarter trim, it is triangular shaped on the back. You have a 90-degree turn here, and then basically a quarter moon on the other side. So I like that design. And then with the mounting options, you can see they have holes here, so you can either pre-drill holes and install it that way with screws or bolts, or you could use 3M tape you may want to run something a little bit thicker than this, one about the width of the actual mounting pad. Or if it's something you plan on moving, you could also run it with Velcro. So those are just 3 different options that you have to mount these lights. The wiring is very simple, just power and ground, running from the light to the switch, and then from the switch to your power source, which I will go over the wiring install of all of this as well. So if you're interested, stay for the rest of the video where we actually go over the wiring and assembling the harness. It's very simple, and then actually getting them installed. As far as the color, they went with a warm diffused daylight color. They are extremely high impact resistance. You guys might have seen the videos on them where they actually hit it with a hammer. I'm not going to hit mine with a hammer, but it does hold up to heavy abuse. The other nice thing about these lights is they come with a 5-year warranty. So they're extremely light as well, aluminum. So getting into things you may need in order to do the install. If the 40-inch pre-installed wire is not long enough for your needs, you're going to need additional wire. Your mounting options, whether that be fasteners or 3M double-sided tape or Velcro. I will be using nylon braided sleeving to protect my wire. So this is the open style, and open up. I use it on my vehicles all the time. I've redone many wiring harnesses with this. It's very good stuff. This is from Alex Tech. I'll have it linked down below. As far as connecting the wires, you can use your standard butt connectors. You can solder them, or what I like to use are these solder butt connectors. You simply just put the wires in. You use a heat gun and melt the solder, and it's a watertight seal as well. So if you're going to go that option, a heat gun is best. Don't try and use a lighter or a torch that will just melt them. Other than that, that's as much as you need in order to actually get it done. If you want to keep the wiring nice and neat, you can get things like this. It's used a lot in like computer desk wiring and stuff like that. These are different mounting options. This one is a flat pyramid, and this allows you to stick it. It's got a little 3M backing. You stick this wherever you need along your wiring route, and then you can pass a zip tie around your wiring and then through this and zip tie it here, so it secures the wiring to wherever you need it to. I'm gonna actually take these out to the smart cap, get them up in there just to see how much wire I'll need to run each one from their locations, and then I'll get in here and we'll start building the wiring harness. This is the inside of the RSI smart cap. I'm gonna be doing one right here along this piece, angled piece, and then one here, and those two will be connected. This is the back of the smart cap, so one will be running right here. The wire will start right here. I'm gonna bring it up here, run it along to over here, and then the other light, the wire will start here, meet here. This is where I'm going to tie them together, and then the wire will run down here. This is where the switch is going to be, one of the switches, and then from that switch the wire is going to go back up over the window down to my inverter. Obviously this is going to depend on where you're pulling your power source from, but I'm just going to the back side of the inverter, the power and ground there that comes in to the bed. And then the other light is actually going to be on the back side of this panel right here, and so it's going to be on its own source. So I'm running the wire, it's going to come down in here, then it'll come down to the other switch. Both switches will be mounted right here, and then the wire, same route, straight to the inverter down there. So I have my cables measured and cut. These are the short ones because the two that are running the length are going to meet right here, and that's where they're going to tie into each other. These shorter ones will run down to the switch, and then I'll have longer ones coming off the other end of the switch that go to the actual power supply. I'll make a little drawing of it so you guys can possibly understand it a little bit better, and then I'll get to actually making them so you guys can see. This is the cab, this is the back of the truck, the tailgate, and this is with the door open. This is where that one light bar would be. The other two running the length of the smart cap. You got your positive and negative that come off of each one. They're going to meet here up top, and then I'll splice in or solder in the shorter wires that are going to drop down to where the switch is going to be, and then you're going to have your power and ground that goes to the inverter. And then you have this single light over here which will bring the wires down to the other switch and have a positive and negative going off to the inverter. Now, if you wanted to, you know you're not going to move anything, you could run this to the same power and ground that runs the one switch, and then you could just jump from switch to switch. So only one positive and negative needs to come off of this, and then power one switch, and then it can jump to the next switch. But I'm going to do it this way just in case I ever want to move this one or make changes. I can easily do so, or if I add another light, I can add it to this one and then have 2 lights on one switch and 2 on the other. So this is as simple as it really gets, and I already have my wires here, so I'm just going to start soldering them together, and everything should be the proper length. And then as far as mounting, I put 2 holes for this side, 2 holes for that side, same for this one, and this one up in the roof of the smart cap. And then this one is going to be taped up there. I'm using some Gorilla. The 3M stuff is great, but I'd have to do 2 or 3 strips of it on here. So I went and got this because I had to pick up some other things for another project I'm going to be doing. And this is good for 60 pounds. They do have a 15-pound one, a 30-pound one, but I use double-sided tape like this pretty often actually, so I figured I'd get some heavy-duty stuff. And it works for plastic, metal, wood, glass, brick, ceramic, stone, and more. And so with this being 60 pounds, it should definitely be able to hold this 1-pound light bar. So we're gonna give it a shot. I like it because it's a little bit thicker than the stuff that I have. So I got a couple strips of that on there. I'll show you guys how I'm mounting those once we get them in there, but I'm gonna go ahead and start working on the wiring harness now. So the wiring is all done. Now I just have to install them in the truck. This one comes off. The wire from the light goes into the top of the switch. And then out the bottom, we have the extensions soldered on. And these aren't wrapped yet, just because I'm going to run these with the other wires from the other 2 lights. So these 2 come off. They go to the extension, the shorter extension, that then leads to the switch. And then from the switch we have our 2 wires, and then these 2 and those 2 will be wrapped into one sheathing and ran to the inverter. Mounted this up here with the Gorilla double-sided tape, and that stuff works fantastic. We'll see how it holds up long term in the heat, but I think it'll do perfectly fine. And then what I've done here is I've used a couple of the zip tie mounts. I'm not sure if you guys can even see that on camera. A couple of zip tie mounts holding it along there. I'm gonna leave some slack right here where it passes, and then it'll come down over here where the switch is mounted. Once again, I just used that 3M or the Gorilla double-sided tape. Then I have both of the long ones mounted. These ones are mounted with hardware. As you can see, I went through that L bracket, and that was super easy. And I can turn it as well. So now I just have to finish running the wiring, which I'm using these in zip ties. So it should be pretty easy. Let me go ahead and get this wiring ran to where the switches go, and then we'll get the other wiring ran to the inverter, get that stuff wrapped up, and see how they turn out. It's all ran. The only thing I have left to do is actually connect it to the inverter. So I'm gonna slide my bed slide out and get back there and access the power and ground. But it's all ran. Switches are right there, and the cable goes back up over the window. You could easily run it down this rail, but if I ever pull something in and out of the sides or anything I didn't want to have it anywhere that I was going to possibly be rubbing on the wiring, so that's why I went up and around the side. Before it gets too dark, I do want to show you guys how they operate. So my switches are right over here. The one on the left is going to be for the 2 overhead lights. The one on the right, or closest to the back of the bed, is going to be for the one up here. So just simply tapping turns on the lights. See? And then just tapping again shuts them off. And then if you want to dim them, you just touch and hold. And then if you want to make them bright again, press and hold again. And they go back up, and then same thing. You just release and touch again, and they go down, you touch, release and touch, and it goes back up. I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but there's a huge difference. I like that they put off a lot of light, but they're not overbearingly bright. If you're like me and just so happen to always look directly at lights. But it definitely provides a lot of nice light. I'll come out here when it's quite a bit darker. And this is gonna be absolutely fantastic for when I'm working at night or when I'm working early in the mornings or getting ready to work. And then this one, I like that I can have the tailgate down, so if I'm camping or whatnot, it's easy to cook because I grill right on my tailgate. It's really easy to cook right here. I'll have some light. And then if I'm needing any of my gear, it's very easy to find because this factory bed lighting doesn't cut it. It gets like one little spot of light, and the other one is tucked behind my gear. So the factory lighting isn't great. This is a huge improvement. That's it as far as the Kingpin equipped LED lighting. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's a great upgrade from any like LED strip, OEM bed lighting, things like that. Not saying that you have to use this for the bed of the truck. This lighting is good for multiple different scenarios or situations. That's just what I used it for. It was a huge upgrade. Build quality is top notch. I think the pricing is good. Obviously, that's all going to depend on the length of lights that you want and how many you need as far as switches as well. And installation was super easy. I like that it's got multiple different ways to mount it with those little aluminum brackets. I mean, wiring is very basic. It's a positive, negative, going through the remote or the switch. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll do some future videos once I get like my roof rack installed and the custom work inside the RSI bed cap done. We're gonna be making quite a few changes, so I'll have multiple videos coming here soon, and the Kingpin lighting will be in it. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about the product, let me know down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer it. Other than that, I'll have the website for these lights linked down in the description for you guys as well. And if you guys enjoyed, please make sure to smash that thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.